Hey boys and girls, Ken Smith, KenSmithFishing.com. All right, video number 2 with Glen Freeman and Albert Collins, structure fishing. Jeff, thanks for the comment, great idea. So I'm adding numbers to these, so it's number 2. I've got a ton of good footage. I just looked at this 11 minutes of footage and I'm about to show you guys to see if I can edit anything out. Nothing to edit out, good stuff all the way through. So I'm gonna keep putting them up. I appreciate you guys watching. I know the audio's not good. I apologize. There's going to be some periods in the video when the wind came up and it's really not good. So when that's the case, I'm going to kind of close caption what gets said down here. You guys have spurred me today to look into upgrading my equipment with some microphones, with some wireless microphones. So the next time we do one of these series, we will do better. I apologize. I'm just a life insurance sales guy in Dallas, Texas, having fun doing videos. So I'm not a professional at this, but we'll get better. We're all learning together. This was a lesson to me that I needed a little bit better equipment, so I'm working on that. But anyway, this is video number 2. Great stuff. Peg and sinkers. I've always pegged my sinker. This is good stuff. Watch, guys. Thanks. Okay, so let's face it. You guys got the luxury of fishing a lot, right? So if I've got a college kid from my alma mater, University of Arkansas, coming to Sam Rayburn or Toledo Bend, and he ain't gonna get to spend a year down here to find a spot, where do you start on a map? And let's start right now, July, August.
Probably first place he could start would be looking at, fishing reports. Get some kind of idea of what's going on the water before you get here.
Gosh, somebody should post those online. Wouldn't that be smart?
Well, they kind of do. You just go look through the fishing reports. Okay, these guys catch them on frogs, around the grass, around the hay grass, or they're catching them offshore, or doing some of both. Then you just kind of figure out what you prefer to do, and stick with what you got confidence in.
All right, so you want to fish offshore. What are you looking for? Are you only a point guy? Are you a creek swing guy? Or are you
all of it?
Okay.
All of it. I mean, you can't fish just one type of structure and be on offshore fishing.
All right.
You've got to learn to find the channel swings and fish them, find the little hard spots and fish them, and your contour changes where you figure out, are the fish on the steeper drops, are they on the slopes, that's not quite so steep, or what type of bottom you're feeling of. I mean, and I went to throwing those tungsten weights just because you can feel the bottom so much better. You can tell if you're on soft bottom or hard bottom or clay or what you're dragging across so much easier than you could with lead.
Whose tungsten do you use?
Elite.
Okay. And so one of our questions was, I'm bouncing around a little bit here, do you always throw the same weight when you're fishing a worm? Now, generally speaking, you throw a big worm.
I throw a 10 and 12 inch Mr. Twister worm, and I'm usually throwing a 1/2 ounce weight, whether I'm in 2 foot of water or 30 foot of water.
Do you peg it?
No.
How come?
I want that. When I get fish hooked up, I want that weight to go up line.
That's all it's about.
That's the main thing. I don't want it to stay down there with that fish because it's too much leverage.
Really?
For him to throw it.
Glenn, same thing?
Yeah, same thing. I never peg a Texas rig worm, never. And like over here, I mean, I was using 1/2 ounce and heavier weights. The fishing on Toledo Bend is so tough right now that I'm using actually a 1/8 ounce, 3/16. And still use the big weights in some areas, for getting a big school of fish or something. But sometimes I like to finesse them with a lighter weight.
That's good information, Glenn.
So, yeah.
All right, so
You should know that.
You don't need to know that.
Yeah, he does now. So interesting. When we got in the boat, you asked for something. You asked for a worm.
Right.
What'd you ask for?
Well,
I love that hesitation.
of course, I'm fishing with Albert's stuff, so I'm finding out what color he likes too.
Right.
So he gave me Mr. Twister 10-inch worm, hang 10, and 1/2 ounce weight. So that's what he's fishing with. So that's what we're doing today.
That was a very, very cagey answer right there. So
I'll blame Albert.
I'm gonna try this again. I'll give a pause, so if I have to delete this, I can delete it. You got a little worm right now you're kind of digging on.
You mean what type of worm?
Well, you were looking for a smaller worm.
Well, oh yeah, Mr. Twister came out with a 6-inch worm, and hang on just a second.
He's been to put one on a boat right here. I saw his rod jump.
Yeah. I think that's a little one. It's stuck with, yeah. But there again, like I say, if they don't hit this big worm, I like the downside of a 6-inch, sometimes even a 5-inch. But Mr. Twister has a new 6-inch worm that's been doing really well.
I've got some of them, I just don't have them in the boat.
Yeah.
So one of the questions was colors. Let's face it, Mr. Twister, Yamamoto, Strike King make hundreds of colors. How many colors do you think you throw in any average month?
Sometimes 1 or 2.
Okay.
1 or 2.
And I'm guessing something in a green pumpkin-y looking color and something in a black blue looking color.
Well, more reds
Really?
than anything.
Do you think that's a Toledo Bend thing?
Well, it works over here too.
Okay.
Works over here too. I like the darker colors. Yeah. I don't do much watermelon and green pumpkin when it comes to worms. I pretty much stay with the red colors.
I don't know the Mr. Twister colors, so give us a couple of ideas.
Well,
This here's basically two that I throw mostly, and that's the Red River Special. I mean, it's a dark. It's got blue fleck in it, and it's a laminated. I'm not sure exactly what colors those are, but that's
Got a lot
my
of blue.
number one.
Yep.
That's my number one bait, and I throw it same color, both the 10-inch and 12-inch worms, and then of course I throw plum a lot and cranapple, which is basically, cranapple is basically like a plum, except it's just, it's got the green flake in it instead of the blue flake. And that's the two colors that I've got confidence in, and I throw them. And to me, that's the whole deal. If you got confidence in what you're throwing, you're gonna catch fish on it.
And that's something. So for me, and probably I've simplified my fishing, because if I can take one of the things out of the equation that I don't have to worry about, so you just got a ton of confidence in a color or two.
Yeah, and it's I don't think it has to be a specific color. Different people's got different things. I mean, Glen's colors that he's got all his confidence in are probably a little different than mine, but he fishes that color because that's what he's got confidence in. That's why I fish the colors I've got, and I can fish my color probably just as effectively as he can fish his color, because I got just as much confidence as mine as he's got in his.
So if you pull up on the spot, one of our questions was, and you're throwing one of those colors and you don't get bit, it sounds to me like you're so confident in that color, you're not going to sit there and rotate through colors trying to get those fish to bite.
No, I'll throw those two colors basically. I might throw one other color. I might throw a green pumpkin, but very seldom. I'll pick up a jig, throw a jig, or I'll throw a crankbait. If I don't get bit, I'm going on. I'm not going to try to waste a bunch of time figuring out some little something, because that might not be bass. I mean, Glen and I was talking about it earlier. It's got to where, especially on Rayburn. I don't know so much about Toledo because I don't fish over there that much, but I've been grafting, and think I see bass, and I'll try to catch them, can't catch them. Pick up my jig and spoon, and I start catching drum. Yeah. And that's what I'm grafting, is drum instead of bass.
So I'm curious, and I think I know the answer to this. How many days have you fished in the last month? I know it's not been a lot.
No, I'm doing a lot of stuff around the house right now, but I've probably been on the water, I don't know, 10 to 12 days, last 30 days.
Out of those 10 to 12 days, how many days did you drop a spoon on something? He don't want to answer this.
Probably half of them.
So it is your, what the heck is that?
I've got it laid out right here. Yep. I've got 2 rods in this boat with a spoon on it all the time.
Drop it on 20-pound line?
20.
By the way, so that's one other thing while we're talking about this. You are not a big believer in getting light line on these lakes, are you?
No.
What do you throw most on?
I throw 20 and 25.
So what bait are you throwing right now?
I'm throwing a 6-cent C25. Well, I was. It might be staying on the bottom. No, there it goes. 6-cent C25 in the.
We are sitting in We're sitting in a lot of water, but what are we throwing up into?
We're throwing up in about 10, 12.
So you want to, even though you got a bait that'll go twice that deep, you want it rooting around.
Yeah. And kind of like, in my opinion, you're trying to stir the bottom up with it, and I can throw up in 10 and 12 and bring it all the way out to 25, and I'm dragging the bottom all the way.
All the way. And what pound line are you throwing that on?
20.
And that, screw it, that's what you're going to do.
Pretty much.
Glenn, you get particular about line size?
No, I don't. I've got 25-pound fluorocarbon on, cigar fluorocarbon.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Which cigar do you like?
The Vizex is probably the most popular. That and the Tatsu. Either one of those two lines by cigars. To me, they're the best out there.
So I throw almost all in Vizex. What's the difference between it and the Tatsu or however you say it?
The Tatsu it's just a little more pliable, softer line. It's not as stiff. It's not as rigid. It's close to monofilament, but it's still got the fluorocarbon feel to it.
No kidding.
And I think it lasts longer on your reel. I don't have to re-spool it as much as I do the Vizex. Tatsu may do 2 or 3, 4 tournaments at a time, you know. And Vizex, I try to change it quite often.
Do you roll through your line that much, Albert?
I change my line every big tournament.
You do.
You know, I'll fish 2 or 3 small tournaments, but you know, like for that TXT tournament, I was re-spooled every rod I was using the night before the tournament.
He just brought up a tournament that he fished. Huh. Let's investigate about that.